people, I'm Shemaya. It's like papaya, except it's not. This is Plot Twist Please, aka my humble abode through your screen. So glad to have you here. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, or just subscribe, or just like, or just share. I'm not picky. I love to interact with y'all. Also, feel free to leave a comment if I talk about something that you wanted to chat about further. Today, I had a really productive day. Got my second shot of the vaccine today. Woo woo! Out here, and by out here I mean in here in my apartment still. I'm probably not going to change anything at all. My behavior will be exactly the same. But it's a great feeling to just know that my immune system has got my back. She's a real homie. It's good to feel that in my spirit and in my veins. Today, I'm going to talk about coping cards and other coping mechanisms that I use that are more artistic. For you creative folks out there, I see you. I see you in the DMs. I see you in the comments. I see you. So, stress. We all feel it. We know what it is. We recognize it. It is home to some of us. The thing about stress is it's like a callus. If you keep putting pressure on it and you let it go on and on without treating it or without tending to it, it grows and it hardens and it becomes difficult to address. And so for me, something that I'm trying to do is to really focus on those everyday, bit by bit things that I can do to ground myself and to tell my body it's okay to relax. It's okay to just exist in the moment, even if that's 5 minutes a day, even if that's as soon as I wake up in the morning before I get into the rush of things or before I have my first cup of coffee, even if it's 5 minutes before I shut my eyes to go to sleep. It's important to find those little moments because it builds up over time, and if you're not careful, time will get away from you. Your body will feel that. And so something that I refuse to do is to sacrifice my health, to sacrifice my mind, my body, or my soul for anything or anyone. I just don't think that's worth it. So, I'm going to chat with you about how I make coping cards and how you can too. Coping cards are a really cool tool that I just discovered, and what I love about them is that they can be made out of almost anything, and you can really do what you want with them. You can utilize them for sensory regulation or for inspiration for self-care on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. You can use them to ground you if you're in a stressful situation, and they're small and transportable. On a little key ring, on a keychain, you can put them in your pocket, you can stick them in your wallet, and they do not require Wi-Fi. I actually did this at work with a bunch of my coworkers, and it was really relaxing. And I realized that I hadn't been collaging in a while, and I hadn't done it in maybe years since Miss Pandemic came out to play. Coping cards can come in different sizes. They can be 4.6 by 11. They can be smaller. Like smaller than an index card. They can be on the larger side like this. You don't have to make them by using old magazine cutouts. You could use stickers, you could use paints, markers, colored pencils, whatever's at your disposal. This is something that is completely for you, something that is completely for your regulation, and no one has to be satisfied by it but you. And honestly, that's another reason why I like crafting as a way to practice mindfulness, is because I'm an artist, right? And as an artist, something that I often find among other artists is that everything that we do that is artistic, it seems like it has to be perfect. It seems like it has to be aiming toward a goal or progressing our careers. And it doesn't have to be that way. And it shouldn't be either. Because then it just becomes this gruesome thing that you wake up every morning and you're grudging taking part in the way that I see it. So, if you're one of those folks who wants to find another creative outlet that doesn't necessarily pertain to your business or your career, this is probably something that would suit you well. What you're gonna need some note cards, construction paper, or anything that fits the size that you want your coping cards to end up being. Yeah, it about covers my whole face actually. I have a pretty big face, so it's impressive. Sometimes it's good for you to have them be smaller so that they're more transferable, so you can have them while you're on the bus, or if you might be going through something or being really stressed at work or something, you can pull them out on your bathroom break or on your lunch break and have them be utilized that way. There are so many different ways you can go about it. So how you fill them out and decorate them. Each card fits a theme of how you would cope with the stressor or thing that is causing you anxiety. So for me, one of my coping cards themes is art. and doing things with my hands. I have colored pencils. There's a magazine cut out of some crayons, of some strokes of a paintbrush. There's also a STEM toy on here. There's a stress ball. There's Scrabble, because I actually really do love Scrabble. And doing things with my hands, any kind of board game, anything where I can keep my hands busy, it is a really good stress reliever for me. And you can fill your cards out however you want them. That is just an example. Now my second coping card is food. Now, not just any food, it's food that's good for my body. You know, I have soups on here, I have salads, I have a little guilty treat that I would indulge in every now and then, which is waffles with whipped cream and strawberries. I put that on there. And for me, it's interesting because what I will often do is I will forget to eat. That's another executive functioning thing, which is something that a lot of autistic people tend to go through. For me, how it manifests itself is sometimes I will forget to eat, literally. And so if I'm cranky, or if I'm fussy, or if I'm stressed and anxious about nothing in particular, 9 times out of 10, it's because I haven't eaten, or because I haven't eaten the right foods to actually nourish my body. My third coping card is for architecture. I'm very visually stimulated, so I love looking at architecture from ancient Rome and Greece and, you know, the Byzantine Empire and and from Egypt and all kinds of different structures. You can kind of see it. It's great. It really gets me out of my head. Now my fourth coping card is full of nature and things that inspire me within the natural world. I don't know, there's something about, again, the visual stimulation of it all and the vastness of mountain ranges and large bodies of water that's really calming to me. This is another tip. You can use these as visual stimulation or as a way to kind of escape your surroundings, or you can use it as inspiration for an action. So like with my other coping card that was full of pictures of food, because it's inspiration for me to eat. And so you could use them in that way if you like. Fifth coping card is about self-care and pampering myself, because I like to do that when I can. We like to splurge, honey. And when we can, we do. I have the word island over here. And I forgot to mention this. It might be self-explanatory, might not be, but I think it's also okay to include words and inspiring phrases. Not necessarily only photos. You can use symbols, you can use colors, you can use textures, whatever fits your fancy, whatever floats your boat. And so I have a palm tree on here, lit candles. I also have clouds. And it just makes me feel very serene to look at this and to be inspired to pursue this kind of atmosphere and to create this kind of atmosphere for myself, even in my own home, not just for when I'm on spring break or when I'm on a huge vacation, for my everyday life, because you deserve to have serenity in your home, you deserve to have peace in your household, and you deserve to find little moments to pamper yourself. And my sixth coping card is one that inspires me to cook. So if you notice, I have one that's specifically for nourishing my body in terms of food, and there's one that's also food inspired, where it's more grounded in the action of cooking. Again, it's something that keeps my hands busy, but it also gets the creative juices flowing in a way that is really tangible. You go through a huge process of preparing something, and then you're in the middle of it, and then there's your anticipation of, oh, what's it gonna be like? How is it gonna turn out? What can I do to add some spice to the dish? And then you have the finished product, which is really gratifying and satisfying. And it really makes me get out of my head and live in the moment. And so that's why I have a separate coping card that is dedicated to cooking. So those are my coping cards, everyone. I hope you're inspired to make your own. Again, you can make them with textures, colors, shapes, drawings. I haven't tried a digital coping card, tried making one that way, but I'm sure that would work as well. All you'd have to do is print it out and maybe glue it or staple it to a surface like this. And I also have some links to some coping cards that are pre-made if you're not someone who is creatively inclined and you don't necessarily revert to crafting as a way to practice mindfulness. That's fine. Different strokes for different folks, right? So I've left links to those below. Take a peek at those. I hope you're finding ways to stay cozy on the inside and on the outside. And stay weird, y'all. Bye-bye. Mwah.